Let me tell you something straight. If someone is ignoring you, if someone cannot see your worth, if someone repeatedly makes you feel invisible, stop chasing them. Why? Because every time you run after people who don't value you, you're teaching them how to treat you. You're showing them that your time, your energy, your love, and your presence are cheap. And they're not. Think about it. Do you really want to waste your life begging for scraps of attention? Do you want to keep knocking on doors that were never meant to open for you? That's not strength. That's self-betrayal. The people who are meant for you will not need constant convincing. They will not keep you in the background, waiting, wondering, hoping. They will show up. They will respect your presence. They will value your silence as much as your words. So here's the truth. When you stop chasing people who ignore you, you take your power back. You create space for those who actually want to be in your life. You stop being a beggar of love and start becoming a chooser of love. Understand this. Ignoring someone is a choice, and so is walking away. Don't waste your energy on those who don't see your worth. The strongest move you can make is to step back, redirect your energy, and invest it in yourself. The world is full of people who will appreciate your presence, your loyalty, your heart. But they'll never find you if you keep throwing yourself at the feet of those who don't care. So stop chasing. Stand tall. Walk away with dignity and watch how the right people, those who see your value, will come closer. Not because you begged, but because you chose yourself first. Remember this, your value doesn't decrease because someone fails to notice it. It remains the same. The question is, will you honor it or will you keep giving discounts to people who don't deserve you? The choice is yours. When you chase people who ignore you, you are not just running after their attention. You are sending a powerful message about how you see yourself. Every time you extend your hand to someone who pulls away, every time you go out of your way for someone who does not even acknowledge your effort, every time you wait for a reply that never comes, you are telling them that your time and your energy are not valuable. You are teaching them that you are willing to accept crumbs instead of demanding respect. And once you teach someone that, they will never stop taking advantage of it. People learn how to treat you based on what you allow, based on what you tolerate, and based on the standards you set. Imagine for a moment what happens when you constantly make yourself available to people who dismiss you. They begin to assume that your presence requires no effort on their part. They see you as someone who will always be there no matter how little they give in return. They take your loyalty as something permanent, something guaranteed, and instead of appreciating it, they begin to feel entitled to it. That entitlement makes them careless. It makes them neglectful. It makes them believe that your feelings don't matter because your actions prove you'll stay anyway. The truth is, human nature responds to what is scarce, not to what is always present without boundaries. When you are constantly chasing someone who ignores you, you strip yourself of that scarcity. You make yourself too available, too eager, too willing to compromise. And in doing so, you lower your own value in their eyes. They no longer have to put in the effort to earn you because you've already made it clear that they don't need to. That is the dangerous cycle of chasing people who are not invested in you. It doesn't inspire them to value you more. It teaches them they can give you less. It also creates an imbalance of power in the relationship. One person is constantly doing the reaching while the other does the withholding. One is over-invested while the other is disengaged. That imbalance can never create respect because respect requires mutual recognition. When you chase someone, you're putting them on a pedestal above you as if their attention is a prize and your worth depends on receiving it. but that is never true. The moment you see their validation as essential, you hand over control of your confidence. You place your self-esteem in their hands, and they will treat it as carelessly as they treat you. Think about what this does to your mindset. Instead of moving with confidence, you start living in reaction to someone else's behavior. You're checking your phone to see if they replied, analyzing every word they said, waiting for signs that they still care. You stop focusing on your goals, your growth, your purpose, and instead you revolve your energy around someone who is not even thinking about you. That obsession drains you. It eats away at your mental clarity, your peace of mind, and your ability to move forward in life. You end up exhausted, not because of what you're doing for yourself, but because of what you're doing to keep someone else interested. But here's the critical part. Every single time you chase, you confirm their behavior. If someone ignores you and you still show up, you reinforce the idea that ignoring you has no consequence. If someone dismisses you and you still beg for their time, you reinforce the idea that dismissing you is acceptable. You teach them with your actions that they can undervalue you without losing access to you. And once you set that precedent, they will continue to treat you the same way because you have told them that you will not walk away no matter what. This cycle doesn't just affect how others see you, it also affects how you see yourself. When you spend your time running after people who clearly don't care, you begin to internalize the message that you are not worth caring about. You start questioning your own value. You wonder what's wrong with you, why you're not enough, why you're not being chosen. But the problem is not your worth. It's your choice to keep presenting yourself to those who have already shown you they don't value you. By continuing to chase, you're telling yourself that you need their validation to feel whole. And the longer you do it, the deeper that belief embeds itself in your identity. What makes this even more damaging is that it prevents you from noticing the people who do see your worth. When your eyes are locked on those who ignore you, you're blind to those who would respect you, support you, and value your presence. You can't recognize genuine connection because you're too focused on chasing false hope. That's the hidden cost of giving your energy to the wrong people. You starve the relationships that could actually nourish you. The moment you stop chasing, the dynamic changes. When you pull your energy back, you shift the lesson you're teaching. Instead of telling people that you'll tolerate neglect, you show them that your time is valuable and access to you must be earned. Instead of teaching them that your loyalty comes without effort, you make it clear that your presence requires respect. That shift doesn't just command better treatment from others, it also rewires your own belief about yourself. You start to see that you don't have to fight for attention. You don't have to beg for respect. You don't have to lower yourself to be seen. Chasing people who ignore you is never just about them. It's about the message you are broadcasting with your behavior. Every act of pursuit, every unanswered call you repeat, every moment you spend waiting for someone who doesn't care is a statement about how much you value yourself. And if you keep chasing, that statement says, I don't believe I deserve better. Walking away is not weakness. It is not giving up. It is not a sign that you failed. Walking away is the purest form of self-respect because it shows that you refuse to stay where you are not valued. Too often, people confuse endurance with strength. They believe that staying in a toxic relationship, tolerating disrespect, or continuously forgiving someone who has no intention of changing is a sign of loyalty or toughness. But the truth is that is not strength. It is surrendering your dignity. Strength is not found in how much pain you can tolerate from others. Strength is found in your ability to recognize when your dignity is being compromised and to choose yourself over their mistreatment. When you walk away, you are making a declaration about your worth. You are saying, I will not allow myself to be treated like this. You are proving that your standards matter more than temporary comfort, more than fear of being alone, more than the illusion of belonging. Walking away is not about punishing the other person. It is about honoring yourself. It is about holding yourself to a standard that says, if you cannot meet me with respect, you cannot have access to me. That is not cruelty. That is clarity. Think of what happens when you stay in situations where respect is absent. You shrink yourself. You compromise your values. You silence your voice. You begin to accept less and less, convincing yourself that one day they will see your worth. But here's the truth. They won't. Why? Because people learn from patterns, not promises. If you stay despite being disrespected, you teach them that their behavior is acceptable. If you remain available despite being ignored, you reinforce the idea that you require nothing in return for your loyalty. And when you teach someone that they will not change, they will continue to give you less because you continue to accept less, walking away disrupts that pattern. It communicates without words that you are not afraid to lose people who refuse to value you. It shows that you are willing to endure temporary discomfort to protect long-term self-respect. That decision changes how people perceive you. Even those who once dismissed you begin to recognize that your presence was not guaranteed, that your loyalty was not unconditional, that your value was not something they could take for granted. But more importantly, walking away changes how you perceive yourself. You stop seeing yourself as someone who needs to beg for scraps of attention, and you start seeing yourself as someone who sets the terms of how you will be treated. Walking away is not easy. It requires courage because it means facing uncertainty. It means accepting that some people will not follow, that some doors will close, that some chapters will end, and the human heart resists endings. We crave familiarity even when it hurts us. We cling to what we know even when it drains us, but the cost of staying is always higher than the fear of leaving. Staying steals your confidence, your peace, your energy. Walking away demands bravery for a moment, but it restores your power for a lifetime. Consider what happens inside you when you finally walk away. You reclaim time that was wasted on people who never invested in you. You reclaim energy that was drained by trying to prove yourself to those who never cared. You reclaim peace that was stolen by endless arguments, by overthinking, by waiting for change that never came. Walking away returns all of that back to you. And with it, you begin to rebuild yourself stronger, clearer, freer. It also sets the tone for every future relationship in your life. When you walk away from disrespect once, you teach yourself that you will never accept it again. You build an internal standard that becomes unshakable. You attract people who sense that strength, who understand that you will not tolerate games, neglect, or dishonesty. Walking away filters your life. It removes what weakens you so that only what strengthens you can remain. And here is another truth. Walking away is not always about other people. Sometimes it is about walking away from the version of yourself that accepted less. Walking away from the habits that kept you trapped. Walking away from the mindset that made you believe you had to earn love through suffering. Walking away from the fear that made you cling to the wrong people. Every step you take away from what diminishes you is a step toward the person you were always meant to become. People will test you. They will test your patience, your limits, your boundaries. They will see how much you are willing to give before you demand respect. And the more you tolerate, the more they push. Walking away is how you answer that test. It is how you demonstrate that your boundaries are not suggestions, they are non-negotiable. It is how you show that your self-worth is not fragile, it is firm. It is how you make it clear that you are not desperate for anyone's approval. You are committed to your own respect above all else. This act of walking away is not loud. It does not require explanations or dramatic speeches. It is quiet but powerful. You don't have to convince anyone why you are leaving. You don't have to prove your reasons. You don't have to hope they understand. Walking away speaks for itself. It communicates in silence what words could never fully express. It shows that you have nothing left to prove, nothing left to argue, nothing left to beg for. You are done. Walking away is not abandonment. It is alignment. It is choosing environments, people, and experiences that match the value you know you carry. It is removing yourself from anything that poisons your peace. It is refusing to stand in places where your soul feels small. And every time you walk away, you reinforce to yourself and to the world that your dignity is not up for negotiation. Your worth does not change because someone fails to recognize it. It does not shrink because a person overlooks you, ignores you, or chooses someone else over you. Your worth is constant, unshakable, and independent of external validation. But here is what happens when you surround yourself with people who cannot or will not see your value. You begin to believe that their blindness is a reflection of your reality. You start questioning yourself, doubting yourself, lowering yourself. You hand over the power of your identity to people who were never qualified to define it. And once you do that, you start living as a discount version of who you truly are. Giving discounts on your worth looks like making yourself smaller so others feel comfortable, saying yes when your heart is screaming no, apologizing for things that require no apology, accepting silence when you deserve communication, and waiting for love in places where it will never be given. Every time you do this, you reduce your own value, not in truth, but in perception. Because the truth is your value remains untouched, but your actions tell the world otherwise. Your behavior says, I will accept less than I deserve. And when you broadcast that message, people believe it. They give you less because you have shown them you will take less. The real danger is not that others don't see your worth. The real danger is that you begin to forget it yourself. When someone ignores you, rejects you, or treats you carelessly, the human tendency is to internalize that pain and translate it into self-doubt. You begin to think, maybe I am not enough. Maybe I am not smart enough, attractive enough, successful enough, interesting enough. But those are lies born out of someone else's inability to recognize what you carry. Their blindness does not define your brilliance. Their rejection does not define your beauty. Their neglect does not define your importance. But when you forget this, you allow their limited vision to shrink your infinite value. Your worth is not dependent on their recognition because it existed long before them. You were valuable the day you were born. You were valuable before you met them, before they spoke to you, before they dismissed you. Nothing they do or fail to do can change that truth. Yet, when you chase after people who do not see it, when you try to convince them, when you beg for them to stay, you are not fighting for love. You are negotiating your own price. And every time you do that, you lower it. Think of how many people settle for being underpaid in love, in respect, in loyalty, in kindness. They hand out discounts, hoping that one day it will make someone appreciate them more. But that day never comes because people do not suddenly raise the value of something they have been trained to see as cheap. If you sell yourself at half the price, they will never pay full. If you allow yourself to be a second option, they will never treat you like a first. If you keep giving without receiving, they will never wake up and decide to give back. You don't teach people to value you by giving more. You teach them by demanding alignment with your worth. The reason people discount themselves is fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of rejection. Fear of missing out on connection. Fear of not finding anyone better. Fear is what makes you say, at least I have something, even if it is not enough. But fear always trades long-term dignity for short-term comfort. Fear makes you stay where you don't belong. Fear makes you accept what breaks you. Fear makes you confuse survival with love. And every time you give in to that fear, you teach yourself that your value depends on someone else's acceptance. But self-respect is the antidote to fear. When you know your worth, you stop giving discounts, you stop begging for text messages, stop tolerating disrespect, stop explaining why you deserve basic consideration. You stop shrinking in the presence of people who cannot handle your light. You stop apologizing for existing, for dreaming big, for setting boundaries. You stop living like a clearance item and start living like a treasure, not because you are arrogant, not because you believe you are better than anyone, but because you finally accept that your worth is not negotiable. The shift happens the moment you realize that you don't need anyone to confirm your value. You confirm it yourself by how you carry yourself, by how you speak to yourself, by what you allow and what you walk away from. The world will mirror back whatever you project. If you project neediness, you attract people who exploit it. If you project desperation, you attract people who dismiss you. If you project strength and self-respect, you attract people who rise to meet you there. It is not about forcing others to see your worth. It is about living in such a way that those who cannot see it automatically disqualify themselves from your space. Your value is constant, but your environment can either honor it or suffocate it. When you stay in spaces where people do not recognize your worth, you begin to adapt to that environment. You water yourself down, you bend, you compromise. You tell yourself this is enough when deep down you know it isn't. But the moment you step into spaces where your worth is honored, everything changes. You breathe easier, you grow stronger, you shine brighter, because you are no longer fighting for validation. You are thriving in recognition. There will always be people who cannot see you, not because you are not enough, but because they lack the eyes to recognize greatness. Do not let their blindness become your burden. Do not let their silence become your story. Do not let dismissal become your definition. Your worth is not theirs to grant or deny. It is yours to honor or to discount. And the moment you decide to stop negotiating with people who do not see it, you begin to live in alignment with the truth of who you are.